Well, welcome to week 4 of the Relationship Challenge. This week we're going to talk about moving forward when your relationship has gotten sideways.
I remember a story really early on in our relationship where I was in the kitchen cleaning and you wanted to talk about something, and I just kept cleaning because I was stressed, right?
Hey, that's what you do when you're stressed. The house is immaculate.
So as you're still trying to talk to me, I walk to the next room and I'm cleaning, and you're still trying to get it, and then I walk upstairs. And I don't know what was going on with me, but I got straight into the bed and pulled the covers up over my head. And I'll never forget you standing beside the bed.
This is infamous in our history. As I looked down, I went, seriously, that's it? You're going to go to sleep? You don't care about this? The truth is, we both cared. We both cared so much, but we manage our stress in different ways. We manage anxiety in different ways. You're cleaning, you withdraw, I pursue. And you know, timing is everything when it comes to really doing relationships, and I didn't understand that. And so, but we need a way to disrupt.
Right.
We need a way to disrupt the flow of energy whenever you're going sideways. And so that's what we want to talk about today, is how do we move forward when we get sideways? So we have a few things we want to share.
Right. So the first one is probably going to seem too simple, but it's this. Just take a breath. Taking a breath does way more than you realize it does. It activates from your lungs. If you go, taking a breath, it activates your vagal nerve, and your vagal nerve is connected to your brain. What you really want to do is to connect to the prefrontal cortex, because that's the part of your brain that sort of makes meaning of something, that makes sense of something, as opposed to our amygdala, which is the part of our brain that is like sending all kinds of alarms saying, you know, you're about to die, so we'll either fight, flight, or freeze. I tend to flight. You tend to fight.
I tend to fight, but the truth is we're not in a flight. We don't need to run. We don't need to fight. So that's the reason why we need to get into the prefrontal cortex and really start thinking rationally.
Yeah.
All right, so take a deep breath. I know this. We've read about Navy SEALs that do this technique when they're in combat to regulate themselves. They call it box breathing, and they'll inhale, and then they'll wait, and they'll exhale. But it's obviously, we're not Navy SEALs, and we're not asking you guys to go into combat, but we do think that we need to regulate ourselves and be able to disrupt ourselves, and this is a great way to do that.
So,
all right.
So another way is just to ask each other, just to slow down long enough to say, hey, can we start over? Like, is there any way that we can salvage this conversation? Can we backtrack?
Yeah, we do this a lot, actually, and I didn't really think about it till we were talking about this today. And that we'll be at a restaurant and we'll say, hey, can I have a do-over? Can I have a mulligan? Can we reboot tonight or whatever? And so that's an easy way, regardless of your marital status, whatever relationship you're in, you can always look at someone and ask a question that says, hey, I care more about this relationship than I do about where we've been and where we're headed. So I want to reboot, I want to disrupt, I want to do something different.
Right.
All right, so there's one more way, right?
One more way, and thank you for doing this, because we learned this technique at a weekend seminar, right?
Lisa takes me to a 3-day weekend to learn how to what we would call mirror.
Yes.
And this is where we learned the science behind it. We learned way more than I wanted to know about mirroring, but we learned how to honestly shut down your brain that wants to respond in the moment and just listen. And this is one of those techniques, and it seems mechanical at first, Lisa, when we were doing it, but explain a little bit of how to do this.
Yeah, so mirroring really just has a speaker and a listener. Let's say I'm the speaker first, and so I'm going to tell you what my perspective is. Like, if we've gotten sideways and we say to each other, hey, can we mirror? I'm going to say, all right, so I'll go first, tell you what my perspective is, and the only thing that you do as the listener is you reflect back to me by asking a question, by saying, is this what I hear you saying? And then if it's correct, then I'll say, yep. If it's not, I'll tell you where you missed it. And so then you just say to me, is there more? And it's just as easy as that. And so we keep going until there isn't more.
And then at the end, what the listener would do, me in this case, I would validate what you've said, and then I would summarize the whole thing. And then we flip-flop, right? And then I become the speaker, you become the listener, and we do it all over again. Again, I want to stress this. That question that you said, is there more? And also, is this what I hear you saying? The question part's so important in this case, because instead of going, well, this is what I heard you saying, you're really saying, I really value you. I value our relationship. And so that question is really important. And also, the other point I would make as far as mirroring goes is a lot of times when we start to do this, we don't understand that this isn't a way of stressing your point or making your point or winning an argument or solving an issue. The truth is that the issue will probably get solved at some point if you begin to understand each other. And that's really what this is about, is listening and understanding.
Yeah. In the book of Ephesians, Paul writes to the church at Ephesus, and he says, get rid of all bitterness, rage, and anger. These are 3 ways that really help all of us to do that. By trying to understand each other's perspective, you're emotionally regulating by saying, can we start over? You're emotionally regulating by taking a breath. We're getting to a place that we're able to actually hear each other.
All right, so we've assumed good, we've begun to know ourselves, we're trying to be safe with each other, and now we want you guys to move forward. Your script is on the screen, SCRIPT. We'll see you next week.